Coming up in this episode, break down some issues, and I got a list. And you know, if I've got a list, the wife's got a list. We get intimate with the car. We go way back into the archives and also play. Can you guess which one's me? Well, fall's come, ending summer, and the good time we had with the car. After finishing off the dash, putting it all back together, everything went pretty good. Did have some issues, and I got a list. As you can see, I updated the list, took out my spelling errors and missed thoughts and everything else. We'll go through that. But in the meantime, what I need to do right now is prep the cars. Corvettes, I don't drive it in the winter, so I got to just clean it up and put a bag on it just to protect it. So the Lambos, I got to run it for a little bit. Just haven't run it in about 3 weeks, probably 4 weeks, so I have time to run it and just let it get hot and run the AC, stuff like that. Just make sure everything's working fine. We put the battery tender on it, and it's good to go. It was a good summer. We used the cars. And did some shows, took the cars off to Buddy's place, had some cool kind of dusk videos that I took. Maybe I'll stick those in here now, because it's always cool getting shots of the car just at dusk, with the lights on and everything, and so it doesn't happen very often. Thing looks pretty good at this time of night. We had to put the RV to bed and catching up on, staying on top of the leaves out here. What a pain in the butt, even just working around the cars. It was a good summer. We got some good relaxing in. Took the RV up north to Northern Ontario. That's kind of my favorite place, going up to, past Sault Ste. Marie, between Sault Ste. Marie, Ottawa. But this year we went up as far as Thunder Bay. It was a great trip. Spent the summer making some music with my best friend from high school, and still is. And he's way more into music than I am. And he bought a synthesizer, so he let me play around with that. And so we've been using it for background music. I've probably got something going now, so it's been really fun. Thanks, Andrew, for that. So I've been adding this stuff as I've been coming in, as you've seen in previous videos. Just noticed there's some other stuff on here. I didn't put that stuff. Oh, this I think is Blake's list. So anytime all I ever say is use all the tools you want here, sort of thing. But if you break something, just let me know. I don't want you to buy another one. I'll buy another tool. It's no big deal. But I just want to find out you broke the tool and go looking for it for an hour and a half and not find it, sort of thing. So that's the missing items. Amazingly, I don't see a 10 mil on here. Anyway, all in RV stuff too. It's never ending. There's always stuff around here. So on our list, the first one is CV boot. And I noticed one weekend when I was taking it down to take it out, I was just having a look to see how that crack that we had last year was doing, which is all good. At least last I looked, it was all good. The CV boot has a little tear. And then one night I remembered years ago, I repaired that same CV boot, I think, with just a little bit of silicone or RTV, something like that. It was just a small little tear in it. And I'm wondering if that's kind of just given up again. And yeah, it's got to be like 10 years ago I did that. So I'm thinking, if it lasted 10 years, I think I'll just do that again. But anyways, we got to look at it. Tighten the wiper. Yeah, that's not a biggie, but I just want to make sure that it's not working its way through underneath into the fiberglass or something. So it's something I just got to. I never got to it last year. I think I had it on the list last year. Parking brake gave up the ghost, and I think what that is I remember being out with Blake when he was welding on that rear lower control arm. He was welding there, and the spring for the parking brake, actually the coil of it heated up like a coil, and I think it's just lost its tension, and it isn't putting the tension back on the spring. We just need to replace that. At least that's what I'm hoping it is. We know about fifth gear. As we were this summer, you guys saw, I showed how it's popping out. It'll go in on days like now when it's quite cold outside. It's only like 9 degrees today. It'll stay and it'll work fine. It's just when it's really hot, I think the expansion of the cables just is enough so that it can't just keep it in gear. So we'll have to take a look at that and how it all stays in there. And we just see if we can just swing the adjustment a little more one way or another. Reverse lights. I don't remember this happening, but apparently I don't see them, and I haven't really had a video to figure it out, but somebody said my reverse lights are out, so got to check that. It's kind of tied to the fifth throw on the back. There's a little micro switch back there, so could be something. I got a couple of keys, the old, the GM ones that I don't have a spare right now. I've only got the one key for the car, so if I happen to lose it or something, that's it, I'm done. All right, I gotta replace it all. So anyways, I got a couple of spare keys. I gotta get them cut. That's just why they're on the list. Door poppers. If you guys remember one of the videos that came back on really hot days, this always does it. When the heat gets into that door, the way that mechanism works, there's like a plastic disc and it just warps, and then there's a micro switch on a mark, and that micro switch and the disc moves off the micro switch, and it just keeps turning, and it gets till it hits it. Eventually it does. So that's what that you hear, and that's why I wanted to put door poppers on. I did have a thought though that I could probably retrofit that mechanism for something else, because I don't really want to put door poppers in, because down the road I want to go to the curved glass on the doors. Power the HVAC, yes. So I didn't get around to it this year, but that HVAC that we put in, that was the Lambo one that I had rebuilt a bit. It actually works. I just didn't hook anything up to it because I didn't have time, but I would at least like to get power to it. Maybe hook a couple of things up, like the fan motor or some of the other activations pieces in there, but I would at least like to get power to it this winter. I got to reverse the polarity on the oil pressure switch. So this is a bit of a pain in the butt. So I guess what it is the positives and the negatives, and the way my signal is coming from the reader, it's reversed. And I'm hoping if I just reverse the polarity, the positive and the negatives, and leave the sensor as it is right now, the gauge will read properly. Because right now it's doing the opposite. So when I first start it up, it's got low bars. And then as it gets warmer, the bars start to come up, and it should be the opposite. When we first start up, you have higher pressure because the oil's cold. You have more pressure, it should be reading the opposite. And I know it's not the car because the old other sender or the other gauge that I had, it worked fine. I'm using the same sender that I had in the car. It might be something with the gauge. So that's something I might have to look or change the sender. Not sure, but I think I have to look into it a little more. I'm just hoping I can just flip the polarity on the back of the gauge and it'll read right. Don't know. Don't know if it'll break it. You guys can tell me. Put it in the comments. I read all the comments, so if doing that helps, or if I just need a new sender. I don't even know what sender to get for it, but anyways, we can figure it out. So for the radio, as you guys know, there's no radio in the car right now. I actually don't miss it. I never use it. The car makes fine music on its own. But anyways, we need to put one back in there. Everything's in there, speakers and all that. I just don't have a head unit in there. I did put a faux head unit in. I was thinking of getting a duplicate of that and powering it up using the faux kind of unit that I have, running wires over to remotely to where the head unit would be. It's one of those ones that Pioneer had where the faceplate came off. So it would be something possible too, but it's still an older looking stereo, doesn't have all the modern functions of Bluetooth. So I thought I might as well go with something. And Memphis has like a hidden audio system that has everything, and it hooks up to your phone. It has a small remote, that you can use to use it as well. And I'm thinking I'll probably go that route. It's on the Christmas list. Hopefully Santa Claus brings it. We'll see. Mounting the mirrors controls was something else. I don't know if you guys noticed, but last year, the mirrors are power, and there's the remotes for them to angle them. I've never really used them. They work, but there was no place to put them in the dash, keeping it authentic to the original car is that I'm replicating, the 88 Countach. So I just left them where they were for now, hanging in behind the dash. You can't really get at them. Could if you do the reach around thing. So my thought is I got to find a place to mount those, maybe just under the dash that you could get to them, sort of thing, and then adjust the mirrors if you had to. So we got to do that. Fix the mount for the fasteners for the mount. So that little bank of switches that we put in, there's the problem with, I think one of the mounts or one of the threads that I put in there has either broken or it's just peeled away or it's loosened off. So got to look at that. Suspension creak. In the back, there is a creak in the suspension, and it happens at pretty much every year, and I just give it a quick spray with WD and it's gone. And I usually do it once a year. This year I didn't spray it, I just left it. I'm kind of curious to see which one's doing it. I think it's the top right rear A-arm bushings. I can't remember if I've ever replaced them or not. Thought I did, maybe I haven't, but I'm gonna check them. So I didn't spray it because I want to check it. So that'll be one of the things we gotta look into. The alternator. One of the issues I have when I noticed this summer was when the car's idling, not so much a problem when it's revved up, but when it's idling, and you put a load on it. So for instance, I'll shoot a video of the car idling, flicking on the AC, and you'll see the voltage drop by quite a bit, down to 12.5. So it's not going below the 12.5, but it's not charging. And I have AC on almost all the time. And there's other times, I think it was the night that I was driving home with the lights on, it was really low. And I think it's an AC or an alternator issue, because I remember somebody else having a Corvette, the LT1 from another era, and they were having issues, and it was a constant thing. Every couple of years they had to do it. I did replace the alternator in this 10 years ago, something like that. And I think over time it's crept back, and I've just kind of noticed it this year with the new gauges, paying more attention with the new gauges and everything. So I think that's a thing where the alternators just go bad on the LT1s. It's a 93 Corvette LT1 that's in it. So I seem to recall that being something, or I saw a video this year sometime and they had a similar issue. So anyways, maybe you guys can let me know in the comments. I think that's a thing. And before I go hunting some other issue, I might maybe just replace that anyway. And the last thing is the rear grille. If I get through all of this, I would like to put a grille on the back of the car. I'll have to figure out what they used for 88. 88 was a transition year to the anniversary model. So I'm not sure if I have a choice between the anniversary model and 88. The earlier models, like the 80s models, kind of grill in the back there. Don't know. But if I have time, that's what I'd like to get to. And I'll either get Mav to order me one, or because I know he can supply those that buy the horns. Or I might have Blake make one up for me, because mine's gonna have to be custom anyways. Even if I bought one from Mav, I'm gonna have to modify it because of my transaxle. But all this stuff is gonna be coming up this winter, and I'll tackle all of this in video, most of it. So if you wanna see more of that, tune in. Make sure you subscribe, like this one, send it to a friend, and comment on some of this stuff you can help me with. Because when it comes to some of this stuff, I'm not sure. That oil pressure polarity thing, and this, is it a sender? Not sure myself. I don't want to wreck anything trying to figure it out. But anyways, there's some of those things like I asked. I read all the comments, so leave one. I'll read it. I'll respond. See ya.